Welcome back. Just kicking off hour two. Lots of breaking news today. Dow down almost 1,000. Harvey Weinstein found guilty on two of the counts, facing up to 25 years. And we have a whopper of an hour or two set up for you here today. To kick it off, we're joined by Dr. John Lott, economist, columnist for Fox News, townhall.com, also a gun and crime expert. And Doctor, thank you so much for joining us today for a liquid lunch. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me on.
So, Doc, there's a lot going on out there in the world, but it looks like Bernie Sanders is got the momentum now on the Democratic side of things. Mike Bloomberg has, pun intended, shot himself in the foot with some of his stop and frisk comments. Doesn't look like he's prepared to answer it. Who is the biggest threat to gun owners in America right now in the Democratic race?
Well, I don't know. I think they all are pretty similar views if you look at it. Maybe the difference is how quickly they want to go in that direction. Surely Bloomberg is a huge threat in terms of the vast array of gun control laws that he's been pushing. I mean, he's been the major financer of the gun control movement for almost a decade now. I mean, you look at the last election cycle, Bloomberg spent something like $110 million on House congressional races across the country. By contrast, the NRA spent like $2.3 million.
Wow.
And that type of difference you've seen for the last 8 years. I mean, it's been almost hilarious how gun control advocates attack the NRA for having so much money and money buying elections. Well, if that was true, then we would have had all the different types of gun control laws you could possibly think of for years now.
Right, and it's rare that Mike Bloomberg is dwarfing someone, but I guess with his spending. Another thing with Mike Bloomberg that I know you wrote about, his comments about farmers. He basically said, you know, if you're a farmer, it's not really that hard. Dig a hole, throw in a seed, put the dirt back, pour some water, boom, you're making corn. You think that's hurting him in the heartland also?
Well, I think it will eventually hurt him. I mean, if he gets to a general election. But there's so many ridiculous things in the statement that he made. So, for example, he made the claim that somehow the information technology age was unique in terms of technology replacing labor. Well, you know, even a very cursory knowledge of farming knows that when animals were first hitched up to plows, that was a huge difference in terms of the amount of people you had to have. We've had since the 1500s machines being developed to go and dig holes and plant seeds. You take something like from the 1700s, Eli Whitney's cotton gin, where before you'd have to have an army of people going and by hand separating seeds from the cotton fibers. And now you could just have a machine where you would go and dump in the cotton and turn the crank, and it would take the seeds out for you, where you could have one person replace literally many dozens of people doing the work. You know, there's been huge technological developments over time in farming that have caused you to reduce the number of people necessary for farming. And you know, there's just a whole range of comments that he's made like that you kind of wonder what he's thinking about.
To me, he's an elitist. He's the closest thing we have in America to an oligarch. And most of the people I know, and I don't know a lot of them, but the ones I do that run these big critical mass farms, they're like scientists themselves. They got to know about geography, geology, climate, all kinds of things. And it's not simple as, you know, dig a hole and a tree grows in Brooklyn.
But my guess is even if you put Bloomberg on a farm a few hundred years ago, unless when he went to Johns Hopkins for undergraduate, he was taking animal husbandry classes, he would fail very quickly. You know, just the knowledge for taking care of the farm animals that you'd have to go and do the plows. My guess is he wouldn't know to begin with where to go and start taking care of the animals, let alone how to deal with pests or fertilizing or rotating crops or anything else that would be necessary, even a few hundred years ago,
Yep.
Let alone the technology, as you mentioned today.
All right. Well, maybe one day we'll do a little experiment. We'll plant Mike Bloomberg's feet in the ground, pour some water on it, and see if he grows. See if it's that simple. But your insights are always welcome here. Thank you very much, John. Really appreciate it. That's John Lott, economist, columnist for Fox News, townhall.com. So still staying on top of our other two breaking stories, the Dow down almost 1,000, just teetering as we speak right now, just broke through 1,000. It's now officially the second biggest down day in the last 3 years and quickly approaching the number.